Good evening, all. Please, can someone confirm he can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Today is 5 o'clock on the dot, but we will have a little bit time, hoping that we will have more persons to join us. Let's say 5 minutes time, we'll kick off immediately. So just be patient with us. We will not hesitate to start as soon as possible. Thank you all.
That will be fine. And hopefully we round up by 6:30 because we have other commitments.
Okay.
Great.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So once again, I want to appreciate all of us for being part of this webinar series. That is the 10th webinar series of Triple Helix Nigeria with team harnessing digital innovation infrastructure for a knowledge-driven economy. So once again, I say welcome everyone in this unique and second webinar series for 2025. So without wasting much of our time, because our time is already ticking, we will kick off with the program of the day. So briefly, this is the agenda for the program, and we will be inviting our president, Mr. Abdul Malik Halilu, ably represented by the Vice President Innovation, Engineer Tangod Egbe, to take us on a brief opening remark. Recall that our president, Mr. Abdul Malik, also doubles as the director of Monitoring and Evaluation at Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB. So please, Engineer Tangod Egbe, I know you're on the call. Please, can you unmute and give us a brief opening remark on behalf of the president? Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, hello. Thank you, Dr. Victor. Thank you all for joining. Really happy for us to convene again and discuss about Triple Helix webinar Vision 10-10-10. So thanks for joining. Apologies that the president is not able to make it because of official duties he has to attend to. So I'm standing on his behalf to give this opening remark in this webinar. Our webinar today is basically to continue what we are discussing on Vision 10-10-10-10. Vision 10 means 10 universities to have 10% equity in 10 listed companies in the next 10 years. And our objective divided into 4 strategic pillars, where we are looking at entrepreneurial orientation, we are looking at research and innovation collaboration, innovation infrastructure, and innovation financing. Our objective today is to discuss about innovation infrastructure. How can we leverage national digital innovation infrastructure to drive innovation and drive us towards Vision 10-10-10? So we have panels of experts who are around in the call to actually discuss this and help to enlighten us on how we can drive Vision 10-10-10. So I'm not taking too much of our time, just to hand over the podium to us and listen to the experts on how we can harness digital innovation infrastructure for a knowledge-driven economy and moving towards a Vision 10-10-10. So thank you all for joining. On behalf of the members of Triple Helix, I would thank our moderator and thank our panelists for coming in to join us and discuss this topic. So thank you, Dr. Victor, and over to you and the moderator. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Tangodegbe, for that warm opening remark. So moving forward, we will be introducing the moderator for this webinar series, second webinar series for Triple Helix Nigeria in the year 2025, with Team Harnessing Digital Innovation Infrastructure for a Knowledge-Driven Economy. Our moderator today is a distinguished Director, Venture Operations and Development, Cypher Christian Limited. She is no other person than Dr. Nadia Albana. Dr. Nadia Albana is an innovation leader in Cypher Christian with over 15 years of experience driving organizational transformation, accelerating product development, and advancing partnership across public sector, academia, and accelerators. She is a keen supporter of entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem in North America and Africa, especially in the health, education, energy, and social impact. Dr. Nadia helps corporate mobilize internal innovations, talent, and commitment to organizational excellence. She holds a PhD from Dalhousie University, an MBA from University of Toronto, and completed professional certificates in venture financing from the American University in Cairo, and organizational leadership for HEC Paris. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want every one of us to join hands as we make welcome our moderator, Dr. Nadia Albana, as she walks us through this webinar series. Thank you very much, Dr. Nadia, as you take over from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Victor. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Can you hear me well? Just wanted to make a sound check.
Yeah, we're hearing you very well, loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to this exciting talk. I know that we have Dr. Adebisi with us. We have Engineer Waziri also with us. Engineer Valerie will be joining us shortly, and we're waiting also on other panelists to join. It's very exciting to be talking about digital innovation. There is no innovation without digital. Just in this time and age, there is no innovation without digital. So, and it's also not easy space to get into because it takes a lot of work. So I'm going to introduce our panelists. I'm very pleased to be joined with Professor Bamidele Adebisi, Director of Smart Communities and Innovation at the Department of Engineering, Manchester Metropolitan University in the UK, starting his career in Nigeria as an electrical engineer, but later on got his PhD from Lancaster University in the UK. He has really deep expertise in the industrial grant and really has a lot of knowledge around the knowledge transfer and partnerships within the EU, but also multi-country, and has led some very large initiatives that we'd be eager to hear about. Then we will be joined at a later point also by Engineer Valerie Agberagba. She's the General Manager of the Generation Projects in Nigeria Delta Power Holding Company. She's a very accomplished woman leader, very proud to have her on the panel. She's a past Vice President for the World Federation of Engineering organization and a past Vice President for the Nigerian Society of Engineers. We're also joined by a representative for Engineer Agbola. He's the General Manager of Research and Innovation at the Petroleum Technology Development Fund, PTDF. On his behalf, we have Engineer Waziri Lesu. So thank you so much. You're joining us from Abuja. We will be also, hopefully soon, joined with Dr. Fodio We're eager to hear him. He's a research fellow at the Research Technology and Innovation Division at the NNPC. He should be joining us from Abuja shortly, so we are eager to hear him and see his contributions. So first, we're going to have a few rounds of questions. We start first with one general question around the beginnings, right? So I'm going to ask all of the speakers on their own, in their own words, to share their background and to share also how they became first interested in innovation. Everyone has their unique experience and unique point of reference when they joined the innovation journey. And we all should learn something about, when we look at our journey. And we hopefully will be inspired by listening to our panelists' journey in innovation. So I'm going to start with Dr. Adebisi. If you'd like to unmute and also share what is your beginnings, the background, and where did you first become interested in innovation?
All right, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for that great introduction, Dr. Nadia. It's a great honor to be here to join other panelists on this important discussion. So yes, I studied I did electrical engineering at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, here in Nigeria. Then I worked briefly in the bank. Of course, while in the bank as an electrical engineer, you began to see things that were just done, paper. Checks have to be check number. They have to go through scanning visually. So I actually started innovating right from being a banker, trying to introduce some digital tools, basic things like using Excel to sift through data instead of doing things manually. Then I went on to do my master's in mobile communications at Lancaster University, did my PhD postdoc for 3 years, then became a lecturer. I would say I was very privileged because during my master's degree, I happened to work with a professor that had a startup. So I worked in his company. It was during my period in that company that he, kindly funded my PhD. So because I already worked with this startup company throughout my PhD, I was still working with them mostly in the area of writing proposals and using that proposal to get projects, working with other partners. So of course, when you start doing that at PhD level, things that some people will normally start when they're like lecturer, senior lecturer. So it was really a very good start for me. So by the time I was doing my postdoc, I actually wrote the proposal, a very large grant of 7.5 million euros. So I was a part of the partner that wrote this proposal. So it actually paid my whole postdoc. You could literally say that I created a job for myself because as a PhD student, I was involved in the writing of this proposal, which paid my 3-year postdoc. So when I started as a lecturer, it was a lot. I wasn't just starting from scratch. I gained a lot of experience. So then I had the opportunity to work with large companies like Siemens and the likes, working on different projects, many of them that won various awards. So that's, I'll stop here for now, and then we can discuss further. So.
Lovely, thank you very much. So it took a lot of creativity also from your end. You're an engineer who worked in a bank, and then you got to challenge yourself with grant writing and being exposed to the startup experience even as early as your PhD studies, which is very early stage. And just wanted to then hand the mic to Engineer Waziri. And just also share the same comment on the same question. What was your background and when did you start getting interested in innovation?
Thank you so much, Dr. Nadia. Again, I'm not an engineer. I'm just standing in for Engineer Agbola. I started my early education in Maiduguri and attended a lot of schools from primary to secondary schools and went to the universities to study sciences. And I bagged a master's in Master of Science in Analytical Chemistry. And then I went back to the same university as a graduate lecturer. And I left the university as an assistant lecturer and started as a pioneer staff at the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, one of the few, people that started the agency, an agency of government, mandated to drive foreign direct investment into the country. So I was a pioneer staff in 1999, and then we started from scratch. For me, that's how or where I got in touch with a lot of innovative ideas, automating the entire process, putting together digital document investors within and outside the country. And I've worked to start, I started the One-Stop Investment Center, where almost all the agencies that a will-be investor will need to start business in Nigeria were all, under one group. We digitized the entire process, the workflow, and I was part of the President's Investment Advisory Committee. I served as an assistant secretary, where we had biannual meetings with, global players, investors from big high-tech companies, Siemens, Total, a lot of companies within and outside the country, and the likes of the richest Black man in the company, in the world, Alhaji Aliko. Well members, Jim Ovia, Otedola from the local. So I was part of the entire process of getting all these ideas packed, articulated for governments. We recommend, most of the outcomes of these deliberations to government. So I was part of all this, and I left and transferred my service to Petroleum Technology Development Fund in June of 2015. This is my 10th year, and I've been working, and I've worked to, develop the College of Petroleum and Energy Studies. PTDF built the college from scratch. It's a multidisciplinary, ADPs now, and PTDF is using that platform to domesticate the scholarship schemes, and we're in partnership with 3 UK universities now to commence split-site programs in this current academic year. So I'm a top management staff at the PTDF, and I'm standing in for Engineer Olayinka Akpola. Thank you.
Such a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Waziri, and as you're showcasing your encounters with innovation, it's multi-step. More than 20 years ago, starting with digitalization at the time when digitalization and automation were much more challenging, I'd say, than even the days, these days now. And then when you're mentioning, you mentioned something very important about having a one-stop investment center. So enabling mechanisms to help innovations and investments and people who want to start businesses. And then, of course, you've translated that in a different way with the scholarship scheme to really help the young generation. So I think there's going to be a lot of exciting discussions around your experience, and we're really very pleased for you to join us. Thank you very much. So we are yet to have Engineer Valerie and Dr. Fodio, but we will continue our discussion because we have 2 amazing panelists from very different perspectives. So I'm sure we're going to learn a lot today. Let's talk about collaboration. So from our own perspectives, everyone has their own perspective of this kind of challenge of collaboration. How does, from your perspective, how does the government, academia, and industry, how do we make it happen in reality? As you know, Triple Helix is always talking, focusing on the collaboration, but it's easier said than done in some cases. So I'm not sure if you can share with us some successful models that you have had in your experiences and your vast experiences, and share with us some, some insights on how to have those kind of successful partnerships. Whether they were in Nigeria, whether they were in the UK, that we can always learn from multi-stakeholder partnerships, because the challenge, I think, is common in all countries. So I'm going to start with Dr. Adebisi, if you'd like to start with us, share with us your experience in the collaboration space.
Thank you, Dr. Nadia. I think I will want to start from the fact that it has to make sense. It has to make sense. I mean, it has to be driven with business in mind. So I think sometimes when we talk about partnership, we talk about collaboration. When we talked about it around something that is sentimental, something that is a good thing to have, is a good idea, then what you will find is that it doesn't last. It's not sustainable. So it has to be something that it has business case backing it up. So I'll give you specific examples. So a project that I've been involved in many, a lot of them in the UK is, I'll just cite example of that particular scheme now. Later we can talk about other approaches. But for this, it's not a KTP, knowledge transfer partnership. A knowledge transfer partnership is a scheme started by the government of the UK 50 years ago. So it's been running for 50 continuous years. It's basically a very simple model. So you have a university partnering with a company, and that company, the funding comes from government. So you have three. So the funding, say it's £100,000, so 100%. So the company, if it's a small one, we have to demonstrate that they can pay up to 33% of that. If it's a large company, you have to match fund it up to 50%. So if it means if it's a £100,000 project, government will fund it up to the tune of 67,000, and then the 33,000 comes from the business. But actually, at the point of writing this proposal, the government will provide you with an advisor. These advisors check the company up, they visit your premises, they look at your books, they make sure, the grant proposal will not be submitted until they are sure that apart from the innovation itself, that the business has a going concern and it's a business that's going to make money at the end of the day. So one other part that I've not talked about is the fact that, okay, so you have the government, you have the university, and then you have this company. The fourth part of it is that you have an associate. So you must employ a fresh associate. You cannot employ somebody who is already part of your team. Your staff cannot be the associate because it has to be a fresh one. Now, let me give you one statistic that is important here. For every £1 that government has spent on this scheme, they've received £8 back. So I will just repeat that. For every £1, they get £8 back. And that's why it's been running for 50 years. I don't see it ever stopping. It's never going to stop. Okay? So I'll go over it again. So if you want to apply for this grant, as a small business, you need to find a university that will work with you. That university is transferring knowledge, something they already know. It doesn't have to be like brand new, but it has to be brand new in your business. Okay, and there's an advisor in the company from the government that is helping you shaping the proposal right from the beginning, paid to do that. Okay, if at any point of the project, if they think, well, that business is not going to make money. I'm not saying that business is an exciting one, it's an interesting one. No, it's going to make money. If it's not going to make money, they stop it. It's not going to be submitted. Now, if they think it's going to make money, it makes sense, it's going to benefit four groups. One, it will benefit the university, it should benefit the company, it should benefit the associate that is going to be employed. Okay, then they allow it to go through. And at that instance, success rate is around, I would say, 70%. If you submit 10, you're likely going to get 7. Compared to others, which success rate is 10%, 1 out of 10 is what you get, some, 14%. So That is why this is making, why you might ask the question, where do they get the £1, £8 out of £1? It's very simple.
Yes.
Remember from day one, when you submit this proposal, that company is coughing out 33% of the money. So actually, government has made that company to bring out 33% of the money, which they won't have spent before. A huge chunk of this 100% is actually paid to an associate, a new person that is getting a brand new job. Within 2 years or 3 years of this project, that person's salary has gone up. Remember that 30% of that money is actually paid as a tax. When you start producing your product, which they monitor you every 3 months, over the period, say 3 months, 6 months, if they think you are not serious or not, they cut the project straight away. All right. So if the project ever make it to the end, it's going to get a product, and then when you start selling, you pay taxes. Yeah, so I think it's a model that can be replicated anywhere in the world, and I think it's going to work. Like I said, I've not just personally led many of these projects. People in my team have led it. A privilege that we have is that in the past 3 or 4 years, 2 of our projects have won the best of the best in the country. As a result of the expertise and skills that we have in this area. So I'll be happy to pick up questions around this. But I think it's a model that works, a model that is not about government wanting to help business. It's not a model about business trying to collaborate or some of the things that we say. It's not about all these things. It's about, can I make money or not?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So what you're saying is there has to be a very strong business case, not just the interest or the innovation has to be fancy, but it also has to be a very strong business case. And the model that, as you're describing it, is quite interesting. From £1 that the government spends, they get £8. So that's that is a huge number.
Yeah, £2
and a success rate is 70%. So that's like very strong. Yeah. And what you caught my attention with was the due diligence that they do beforehand, before you submit the grant, to really make sure that you are in a good position to apply. That's very inspiring. Mr. Waziri, any thoughts from your end in terms of the collaboration now? As PDDF, you've mentioned already in the introduction some of the strategies that are being used to create this kind of collaboration between government, academia, and industry. Maybe if you'd like to share some successful models or tips, for what you look at when you're looking for those kind of collaborations and partnerships in Nigeria.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nadia. Yeah, for PTDF, which is a government agency, for us, it's a way of discharging our mandate. We're discharging our mandate in that coordinated manner when we relate with the academia and the industry. So we have a lot of successful stories to tell, because the approaches in discharging our mandates has a number of feelers in terms of the intervention. In our human capital development, we have the flagship overseas scholarship program, and we have the in-country scholarship program. The overseas scholarship program, where we send scholars to universities in the UK, Germany, France, and other parts of the world, are purely postgraduate programs. And then the PTDF scholarship targets sectors that are critical drivers of innovation, productivity, and global competitiveness. And this scholarship targets also, they enjoy a lot of incentives, and apart from that, we have the institutional capacity development, another part of our mandate, where PTDF intervenes in the provision of infrastructure facilities for oil and gas related educational institutions across Nigeria. There are issues around funding, especially funding education all over the world, and its adequacy. The adequacy of some of these funds. And these funds in this country mostly comes through the budgetary provision. So the budgetary release and the, the performance, and then getting these funds get to the universities. So PTDF moves into upgrade universities. So we have upgrade projects, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Now we're in phase 4. And in phase 4, we've upgraded Federal University of Technology in Akure, Mining Engineering Department, Michael Okpara University, where we upgraded Environmental Management Technology Department, and then University of Petroleum Resources, where we upgraded Marine Engineering, and then the Federal University of Technology in Lafayette, where we upgraded the physics, and then the Federal University of Technology Gusau, where we have the mining engineering, and then Federal University of Technology Gashua, where we have the civil water resource engineering. And apart from that, we also intervene in research, development, innovation, basically to promote research in relevant areas towards domestication of these technologies. And then where we have professorial and research endowments in 8 universities. We started this in 1997. And to date, we've been running these professorial chairs in these 8 universities, in the upgraded universities. And then we have annual oil and gas research grant programs. So the aim of this, our endowment, is to enhance the capacity of local researchers and then the retention of such capacity. And the annual oil and gas research grant was conceptualized in 2007 and it's running. And it commenced in 2008. And it aims to empower and encourage Nigerians to conduct research in oil and gas related areas, encourage the application of research results in solving industry problems, and provide effective linkage between the industry and the academia, whereby, enhancing mentorship and then the knowledge transfer. So the efforts over the years has produced homegrown innovation. We have patents, and then these patents are registered with the Patent Office NOTA, thereby commercializing the outcomes. And we've created that handshake between industry and the academia by doing that. So again, we have PTF scholars who also engage in entrepreneurship and high impact research, reducing dependency on foreign expertise. Largely, this will contribute to the development of indigenous solutions to national issues of, to our challenges. And to that, PTDF has been working with the National Oil, with NNPC Academy. We have developed a collaborative framework, and we are looking at another relationship with the RTNI, and also with other professional bodies in Nigeria. So these are some of the success stories that PTDF has over the years, tried to undertake successfully and intervene towards capacity development in the Nigerian oil and gas sector.
That's fantastic, and it's a very strong example of how government is supporting academia and supporting the scholars to think beyond maybe some of the classical research, but more of the translational research. And as you mentioned, the entrepreneurship element is also helpful to push some of those research and translate them into solutions that can actually solve the problems and reduce the reliance on foreign solutions. So it's capacity building, and it's also a solution, a viable solution for solving some of the challenges that they see firsthand. So it's such a great example. We are now joined by Dr. Fodio Longman. Thank you so much for joining us. We had introduced you earlier on as you're a research fellow in the Research Technology and Innovation Division at the NNPC. Welcome. I know that you've been trying to reach the call from Abuja, so thank you very much for joining us. We are at the point. Thank you. So we're at the point of asking for collaborations, but because you have just joined, I'll ask you, 2 questions at the same time. So first, telling us a little bit about your background and how you first became involved in innovation as a as a focus in digital innovation specifically? And then if you can give us an example of some of the partnerships that you have been involved in. NNPC, of course, has many examples of these kind of multi-stakeholder partnerships. And we'd love to hear from you on how you see a successful partnership between government, academia, and industry. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Nadia. Hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So you've said you've introduced me. I think you've said enough. My name is Fodi Olokman. I have a PhD in Control and Systems Engineering from the University of Sheffield in the United Kingdom. Proudly a scholar of the Petroleum Trust Technology Fund, which Dr. Laiso have just spoken about, and I'm a beneficiary of that capacity building, and I'm really grateful for that. My background cuts across image processing, computer vision, developing models in terms of machine learning models, artificial intelligence, and of course, in research and technology in general. So if we go on to, let's say, how I got involved with innovation, going by the definition of innovation actually is just like, creating, improving, or the application of new ideas to solve problems. So right from when I started my career with the National Space Research and Development Agency, I've been involved in terms of how we could solve problems, be it the use of satellite images for precision in agriculture, weather conditions, and all of that, information. A lot of things that we've done in that regard. Now, after my PhD, I was a postdoc in University of Sheffield first, and then there I was involved with material engineering, and then we were looking at how we could reinforce, materials for different applications. And afterwards, I got engaged with Manchester Metropolitan University, and there again we worked on a project, and this time it was even in sports engineering, and very interesting. It was with FIFA. What was quite interesting was that we were looking at the football technology, and that was a very interesting, project, and that's all part of innovation. So what can we do to improve, players' experience in terms of how footballs are being built, how footballs are being managed, what happens in terms of curating injuries and all of that. So these are all innovations that we're doing. Now, coming to the NNPC, which is an entirely different sector, I started to work with the upstream people, and then we are improving processes. So how can things be done? For example, we're involved with Juvico, which is an indigenous company that is looking at some local content development. And what are we doing with that as partners is that we are looking at the application of no geochemical techniques. So ideally, when oil wells are being built, a lot of data is being harnessed from it, and samples are being collected to kind of determine the substrate or the hydrocarbon quantity in that. So these are all things that I learned when I came here as a research fellow. But interestingly, we looked at how can we actually improve that process, because that process is time consuming. It takes a lot of energy and resources. And then we're looking at how can we actually use emerging technologies. For example, machine learning, artificial intelligence, how can that improve that process? And that's what we're doing with that. Very interestingly, we have something coming up with Cypher Crescent as well, where we're looking at developing hydrocarbon accounting softwares. Like that's an end-to-end build of a pipeline for accountability of what gets in from one wellbore to the other. And all of that is part of the innovation that we're doing to new ideas and improving the processes as well. I can see Professor Bamidele is here, and with Manchester Metropolitan, where I used to be before, and the research, technology, and innovation, we're looking at how we can improve the decarbonization processes. And I'm looking at hydrogen, and very importantly, is looking at collaboration in terms of grant sourcing. How can we actually secure funding for our research. Dr. Laisu have just mentioned that there is a funding problem, and PTDF is doing a lot in terms of their professional chairs across the universities. And that is what Altia is actually looking at doing with that partnership with Manchester Metropolitan. So a lot of things are actually going on in terms of collaboration, in terms of innovation, in terms of the research that we are doing, and all that is aimed at, if you look at it, the title of this talk today, which is just digital innovation infrastructure. If you add all of these things, that actually building up to that process of harnessing digital innovation infrastructure, especially for a knowledge-driven economy like Nigeria that we are. I hope I've been able to answer much of that questions in a little while. I understand there are two questions, but I kind of mix them up.
You did. That's great. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. Fodi. You've mentioned very nicely how NNPC is working with a number of industries to solve real challenges, and at the same time also building the research, collaborations with universities, whether looking for grants locally or internationally with international collaborations. It's a lot of work, and people who think that innovation is an easy step, it's one word. How difficult could it be? It actually is a lot, and you've been describing a little bit, the challenges and also the successes, which is great. So I'm going to. I don't think Engineer Valerie is here. I'm just going to quickly check. Yes, okay. So as we go into the next round of our questions, where do you see the future outlook? Where do you see the digital innovation for Nigeria in the next few years? So, as we heard from our speakers, everyone, whether they are in academia or the government, or industry, we're all trying to build this collaboration across partners, and it's a lot of work, but there are very good success stories, as we all heard. Where do you see Nigeria's digital innovation economy in the next 5 years, and what does it take for us to get there? As if you were to make a call for action, that's also a good opportunity for us to see what we can do to actually together work towards a stronger digital innovation economy in Nigeria. So, Dr. Adebisi, would you like to share a few words on that?
Right. So, could you please repeat the question? Just to be clear.
Yeah. So I just wanted to see, you're from your location in the UK. Sometimes distance is helpful to have this kind of perspective. When you look at digital innovation economy, you know what's happening in Europe, you know what's happening in the West, and you also have a very strong vision of what is you have a visibility on what is happening in the Nigerian ecosystem. Where do you see the potential? What should we do to make Nigeria have a very strong digital innovation economy from your perspective? Can you hear me? I'm not sure if you can hear me. Hello?
Maybe you need to unmute your mic, Dr. Adebisi.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Nadia. So I think that's already started. Oh, it's unmuted. I've unmuted my mic.
Go ahead. We're hearing you now. I think there was a
Can you
little
hear
bit of
me?
a lag. Yes, there was a little bit of a lag, but we can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Right. So, yeah, sorry. I was just saying that, I think that's already started, because having a platform such as this is a very good way to start. And that basically means that we have a platform where people can grow, people can connect, collaborate, can learn. So I think that's a good start. I think the next is really that you want to, you have an engine, you always need an oil, you need grease to make things moving. So when you look at money in relationship to innovation, it's like blood to the body. Okay, so when you actually look at the blood itself, you could ask a question, what does it really do? It doesn't seem to be doing anything because it's not the heart, it's not the lung, it's not the one walking, it's not the one picking things up. But it's until you actually take the oil, the blood, out of human, that's when you know, well, this thing is actually moving things around. So you eat, you get oxygen, you get digested, you move things around to the muscles, the cells, and so on and so forth. That's what more does. I think what you have a lot of money in all this. So I think I like the idea of, government kind of, or either government or companies throwing money at things, but I think we need to move a step further because it's not really sustainable. We've done it when we first had oil in the 80s. We said we have money, we have too much, that to spend it was the problem. And we know that that's not true anymore today, right? And that is why you need to create sustainability in anything that you do. So as we fund, be it capacity building, be it funding for innovation, be it for a startup, we need to begin to ask questions. What do you bring to the table? You bring your ideas, your brain, and so on. How do we make this sustainable? So I can see a lot of opportunities in Nigeria. Of course, look at young population and so on. It's obviously a good place to do business. It's a great place to know. We really need to think about blood, that oil in the engine, that grease, that makes the wheel to go round. It is very, very important. You can't just create the lungs, create the leg, create and not have the oil in it. We need to take stuff around, and that is money. That's funding. And that funding should not just be free money that is going around. It has to be something that is designed, well thought through, so that it's something that will last for a long period.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adil. So you're referring to the oil and of course the funding, and making sure that the funding is designed in a way that brings value and is sustainable. As you say, in the UK, they for every dollar that the government, every pound that the government puts down, they receive 8 pounds back. So there is a good return on investment from their end. It's just a matter of figuring out how to manage that. Mr. Waziri, what are your thoughts on this? Looking at the future, of the Nigerian digital innovation ecosystem and economy in the next 5 years, what do we need to make it happen, to make it stronger?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nadia. I think what needs to be done is government has to, government and including the private sector, we need to make deliberate efforts to expand infrastructure across the country to achieve significant growth. And from my experience, when you do this, you earn the confidence of the investors, likely people who might want to come into and then invest in your economy. So in the next 5 years, there has to be, if you're looking at the digital divide or digital innovation, there has to be significant increase in broadband penetration. The digital skills development programs, artificial intelligence. And for us to be able to achieve that, we have to ensure fiber optic rollout, which governments, both the public and the private, sectors have planned, has to roll out as planned within the stipulated period. And again, there are issues around policies that support this digital innovation and startup. And the Startup Acts are implemented. And also, we should encourage more investment in the area of clean energy, artificial intelligence, and digital infrastructure. So I mean, increasing investment for me is key. Encourage more investment in the area of clean energy, as I have said earlier.
Mhm.
And then, especially now that we have legislation and new tax, we have to enforce regulation and then the law and order. So incentives by way of tax holidays has to be there, and then hope the tax reform works. So for me, these are some of the initiatives that we need to put in place to address and endure the underserved, and then communities, so that we'll be able to see public-private partnership and other affiliations to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So here you're referring also to you're reminding us of all the different parties that need to come together, from upskilling to fiber optics rollouts, to encouraging clean energy investments and investments in the digital infrastructure. It takes many pieces to put together, and you've highlighted the recent tax legislation, so that should help us in putting together the public-private partnership and push towards a digital innovation economy. Dr. Longman, we're eager to hear from you your thoughts on this, and looking forward. What is the digital innovation economy perspective for Nigeria in the next 5 years? What should we do to get to where we want Nigeria's digital innovation ecosystem to get to?
Okay, thank you very much, Nadia, for that question. So in my own perspective, I would like to say that the future of digital innovation infrastructure in Nigeria is quite promising, as we can see. Of course, there are substantial opportunities for transformation, which can be across all other sectors. However, if we want to realize that potential, we need to have, just like Dr. Laisu have said, strategic investment. Just like Professor Bamidele have said, public-private partnerships, policy alignment, and we should have a focus for inclusive growth. So, for example, if we look at the current landscape that we have now, we have the broadband plan, which spans between I think about 5 years, 2020 to 2025, and that aims to achieve, I think, 70% broadband penetration by 2025, and that's across all areas within Nigeria, rural, urban, and all of that. So that needs to be chased continuously. We also have the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy, and of course, with the establishment of NIDA, they are doing a lot of work. One notable aspect of it is the National Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics, and in that platform, there is creation of technical hubs, government-backed institutions, innovation centers are fostering research and technology adaptation within this. However, despite all of this current landscape and the foundation that is being laid, of course, there are still challenges. One of those is the power instability, poor connectivity, just like Dr. Laisu have said, and of course, we still battle with low digital literacy in rural areas, and there is limited investment, which you will definitely agree with me in terms of research and development infrastructure. In the United States of America, for example, they have the National Science Foundation, they have a cloud bank and the TerraGrid. The cloud bank allows academic access to individuals to, platforms like AWS, that's the Amazon Web Services, the Google, the Cloud, and the Azure, where institutions, organizations, and individuals can actually carry out research using all those platforms. That is being made available by government. The TerraGrid is just more like high performance computing. So if I'm running, let's say, artificial intelligence models that require a lot of computational power, I can actually key into that. So these are kind of things that Nigeria can actually look at and begin to replicate here in our country. And then that could, in the next 5 years, see us where we want to be. Of course, there are a lot of talent. We'll see a lot of startups coming up, and the prospect is quite very, very high. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Longman. You've reminded us of how strong our national talent is in Nigeria, and I think You've mentioned how there are some very good opportunities for transformation, and then at the same time some challenges when it comes to power instability or digital literacy. And I think what you're mentioning is also linking very well to PTDF's conversation around the digital literacy and the education, and you are a very good example of someone who has been trained abroad and came back with the expertise and the willpower to bring innovation within Nigerian ecosystem. We have here Engineer Valerie has joined us. So I want to take the opportunity to quickly introduce. We have introduced her at the beginning, of course, but we will mention that she's the General Manager for Generation Projects in Nigeria Delta Power Holding Company. Thank you so much for joining us, Engineer Valerie. I know that you had some key conflicts in scheduling, so I appreciate that you were able to join us. Thank you very much.
Nadia. I'm happy to be here. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So I wanted to, get your, maybe we'll combine a couple of questions and say, from your perspective, where do you see successful stories of partnerships between industry and government and academia? The Triple Helix is, of course, bringing all the great experience, great examples of people with like minds. But I'm wondering, from your experience, from your vast experience, what successful examples do you see for these kinds of partnerships?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. For me, there are lots of opportunities for partnership between the industry, academia, and even government for us to be able to solve our multi-dimensional issues. I work in the power sector, and I know that there are so many things that we could do together. But as an engineer, generally speaking, I think we need to concentrate on our immediate problem. Power is a very serious one. We're talking about introducing smart metering. We are talking about using the Internet of Things, because we're talking about digital infrastructure. Now, up till now, we do not have a SCADA that could work on our transmission line across the country. But we could begin to make our institutions look at some of these major issues and come up with Internet of Things that we could apply for monitoring and evaluating most of what we're doing. We're talking about financial losses in the power sector, digital infrastructure. If there is a synergy between the academia and industry, some of these issues will be looked at, because the industry will be able to infuse some funds into the academia and say, this is our problem. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Adebisi, that's what they do in other countries. I have a problem. If I am in the oil and gas, this is our problem. We begin to take the institution that has the best research in that area, put in some money and say, do more research for us so that we can improve on what we have and be able to solve our major issues. But we are not having the industries do that in Nigeria. Industries need to come out with their problems, go to the academia and say, I want to invest on research to solve the problem. If we had started that, I believe most of the issues in the power sector would have been closed. We're talking of going renewable. How much are we investing right now in the institutions to begin to look at the new materials that are being used for our solar panels, even for our batteries and every other thing? There is a lot that has been done in industry-academia relationship, but I think a lot still needs to be done. If we are investing in students, we are sending students to go out to do any research, let it be solving immediate problems we have in Nigeria. So I want to bring the focus of everyone, especially from the industry where I work, that a lot can be done with the academia. And so let's challenge ourselves. Let's give Nigerian institutions a problem to solve. And once they are done, we know that they are ready to help us. So it's important we encourage it. It's important we start it. It's important institutions and industries bring out their problem to this for and let everybody work on it. So for me, it's a win-win for everyone. You get to make the institution stronger, and then you also get to make the industry have their solutions. And of course, we are talking of digital infrastructure. Nigeria will be better off for it, especially for us in the power sector. Internet of Things, application of smart metering. We can get people to do it. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Engineer Valerie. So you're, let's give Nigerian universities a problem to solve, a realistic problem that comes from in the industry to solve. And you're referring, of course, to the key challenges within the power sector that really impact the community, impact industry, they have this significant loss of revenue. When you're looking at the future, I think Dr. Fodi also mentioned that there are opportunities for the future, and it's a matter of just building those collaborations and allowing for research that can actually be translated into solution, key solutions for those challenges like power instability and poor productivity. So we're all looking at the same challenges. As we hit the 6 o'clock hour, we're going to ask you, I don't know, Engineer Valerie, if you'd like to also expand a little bit on your comment for successful examples. Have you had, in your experiences, what are the tips? What are the tips to make sure that your partner is going to push forward and despite all the challenges, bring a solution forward? I'm not sure if you've had
Sorry,
any
I missed you there. You want me to share?
Yes, if you have any success stories that you'd like to share, since we've spoken about the challenges, maybe we should also have some successful story to share.
For me, I wouldn't say I've seen any, except one within last year. I'm still talking about my sector now, the power sector. I know a lot is being done. I happen to have been the chairman of an awards committee for the Federation of African Engineering Organization. And a lot of entries were brought in from across the continent. And there was one that actually interested me. It was from Nigeria. And just like I said, trying to design an IoT that could be used in the power sector. And I thought that was very interesting. But unfortunately, not much investment was put into that. And that's why I came in with that there are so many areas we need people to work on. He was an engineer on his own who decided to design that IoT to use for a particular session of the transmission line to see if we can actually monitor the issues on that line. And up till today, I've not heard that people have invested to build more of IoTs that could check different aspects and different states for us to monitor. It was, for me, I called it a success story because that was a young engineer becoming innovative and coming up to solve a problem for Nigeria. And I just hope that as we publicize him, more people will be willing to invest on that because it actually worked. He could monitor some areas of our transmission line. So I'm looking forward to one industry telling me we want to invest on him to create more of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think the hope is in the talent. It's something that's very attractive and very apparent to anyone who just opens the initial, just opens the opportunity, just open the window and you'll see lots of experience, very, very talented people who have very good innovations and just need a little bit of an opportunity to showcase their pilot or to get an investment. We were talking about this earlier before you had joined, how it's important to have oil, to have funding in the system. We're as we close up in the last 25 minutes or so, we have some questions from the public. So before we get to closing remarks, maybe we should address those questions. We have questions from Olaolu. They say, are there specific technology innovation funds for researchers made available by PTDF, and what are the top success tips for accessing them? So I think this is meant for Mr. Waziri, I think, as a question. I don't know if you'd like to refer to that, Mr. Waziri.
Sorry, Dr. Nadia, can you come again? I just
Yeah,
had
so the
about,
question, that's fine. So the question from the audience, after thanking all of you for speaking, they're asking what is the specific technology innovation funds, the funding that is available to researchers by PTDF, and are there any success tips for accessing such funds for researchers?
I've said, and for individuals, I think I will suggest the annual oil and gas research grant. It runs annually, and I've said in my opening remarks that I mean, we started it in 2007 and it commenced, I mean, it was conceptualized in 2007 and commenced in 2008, and it's still running. And the aim is to empower and encourage Nigerians to conduct research in oil and gas related areas, and also to encourage the application of research results in solving industry problems, and then enhance mentorship and then knowledge transfer. So it's, we advertise, and then applicants are expected to, apply through the PTDF, link, and there is no any cutout. I mean, it's just like a competition. The moment you pick, you win, and then you are entitled to some funding from the PTDF, and it just runs for a year. So at the end of the year, I mean, at the end of it, it's just going to be a win-win for both the researcher and then the PTDF. So the patent and then the research outcomes are patented, and then it's commercialized, and then we go into innovating the work. So I think this is the window that is available to individuals. But for the universities, for academia, we have the professorial chairs in the 8 universities, and then where we have carried out upgrades, and then this research works are mostly the endowment chairs are mostly they're ongoing. I was in Nsukka last week. We inaugurated the endowment management committee, and then he has presented his budget, and then he will defend the budget again, and then the research cycle continues. Research cycles are mostly 3 years, and possibility of extending for a year. So these are all opportunities, and apart from the flagship program where we have the OSS. And again, before I just go, I want to add to what Engineer Bellery said about the scholarships that add to, solve critical. The one in particular that I want to mention is we have a scholar working in energy and microgrid systems. So that supports the development of clean and alternative energy sources. So this tech improves electricity access in rural and underserved areas. So what all this entails is better power supplies, stimulate small businesses and industries. So this is some of these things that our scholars will do. So we've stopped, just sending people to go and grab PhDs and other, knowledge just for the fun of doing it. But now going forward, scholarships has to create, be able to solve problems. So at the end of it, these things contribute to economic activity and job creation. Thank you.
That's very good. That's very good.
They're very good. I love that.
Yeah. There's and we see that Dr. Fodi is also an example of that. Someone who has been sponsored and or has been supported by such programs and actually came back to add value to the country, which is great. I'm going to take the third question from the audience because it seems to be very linked to what you had been mentioning. We have engineer Abdul Ghani Sanusi is asking, is there any consideration for private universities to participate in research funding by PTDF?
Yeah, what we're doing lately is we're reviewing the entire endowment management service agreements with all the universities, because we felt that there are a lot of good works going on in our private, I mean, in the, not only in the public, but in the private universities. So considerations are there. So by the time the review work is completed, we'll be able to see some, you know, maybe possible change in the way we endow the professorial chairs.
Yeah.
There are hopes.
There are hopes. There are hopes. And then you mentioned the 8 universities, and so as a previous researcher myself, I'm also hoping that maybe some of the researchers in the private universities can also collaborate with some of the research that's happening in the public universities, or those 8 public universities, and maybe they can co-apply. That's also maybe one way that they can get some support for their work. We're talking about collaboration from government, industry, and academia, so we can also think of that collaboration between private and public universities. One more question on the PTTF capacity building innovation program. I think there's a lot of interest around this. The question is from Dr. Adeshola. Is there capacity building program and innovation led by PTTF, Innovation Fund led by PTTF, tailored to meeting the rising student startups? So supporting startups, especially ones who have smart energy solutions within the universities. Mr. Waziri, you mentioned the annual oil and gas research grant, but that's for individuals. You mentioned professorial chairs. Is there anything for startups?
For now, some of these things, like they just evolve and revolve. So yes. Most of these things are not, there's no any...
Not yet.
Yes, not yet, but we're looking at reviewing most of our strategic, thinking and the direction we focus, because the energy is in transition. And then, we have to look and see the rising challenges, the dynamics in the way and manner we operate. So these are some of the takeaways from these discussions, that we have to go back and then look at some of the needs to adjust, and then maybe put it into, see how we can take it from there.
It's a recommendation. Yeah, you can hear it from the public themselves. There's a lot of interest around the program, and the hope is that they can apply in terms of private universities or startups. And maybe the startups could be research projects that are happening within the university, so maybe they can be supported like that. As we wrap up, we're going to go to our closing remarks round. So we're going to ask all of our speakers to give advice to the younger generation on how to build those kind of multi-stakeholder partnerships. So as a researcher, how do you build the partnership? How does the younger generation reach out to build such industry, government, academia partnerships to drive innovation? We'll ask, I think, Dr. Adebisi, you've mentioned something at the very beginning that says, there has to be a business case. So what would you tell your younger generation? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I don't know if he's in the room. I think we have, yeah, he's in the room. Prof. Adebisi, are you able to unmute your phone? Muted. Can we get some support to make sure that Prof can actually unmute? I don't know if I can do that from my end, but ask to unmute. There we go. Let's see if that works.
All right. So
super.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I was muted by the admin. All right.
Apologies
yes, I
for
think
that.
like I said earlier on. Okay, good. So I think for the younger generation, my advice to them would be that they should, I think it's been said over and over this evening, which is really that they should develop innovation that solve problems. So they identify problems, that societal problems, something very relevant, something that is pertinent, that is really, is unique to the community, something that people really want. Because when you do that, then you bring something very unique to the table. And I believe, it attracts investors, help to be able to, because in partnership, your collaborators, they have strength in one area and they are looking for areas where they could complement their own weaknesses, right? So if you are bringing the same thing to the table, which is maybe complaining or just something that is exactly interesting, that's not good enough. But a bank is not in the business of developing IoT. We've talked about IoT a lot this evening. So if you bring something to the table that they see can solve a problem, and then you are likely going to get partners. In fact, my experience is that what you begin to find is that people come for you instead of you going after them. But I mean, at the earlier stage, you may need to do a lot of promotion, gain visibility, try to share, let the world know what we're doing really, because there's no way people will come around if they don't know what you're doing. But after a while, people start coming for you because they can see what you have that they don't have. So just to kind of summarize it, I would say make sure you are selling something. By selling something, I mean you have a product, you have something that is solving a problem that people can actually contribute something to. Then it's a lot easier to form partnership in that way. Thank you.
Well said. Have a product that is solving a problem. That's key. That's key. We see some people who are having the product and then looking for the problem to solve. So that's having a product in mind that is solving a key problem that people can work with you on. Thank you very much, Prof. We will ask Dr. Longman. We'd like to hear also from you on closing remarks, advice to the young generation on how to manage partnerships for innovation.
Okay. Thank you very much, Nadia, for that question. Let me just add here that I would also regard myself as a young person. However, I think you need to, as a young person, you need to have an open mind in terms of where you want to be. That's the number one thing. Look at the trend in terms of where you are heading to, and be open to change. Innovation as it is the engine of progress. So you see innovation as an engine of progress. See innovation as a challenge that you can turn into an opportunity. See it as an idea that you can turn into impact. Drive competitiveness. Be resilient in what you do. Always update yourself. Create visibility, as my mentor will always say, Professor Bamidele, create visibility. Let people know what you're doing before they come to you. Otherwise, people will not. It doesn't matter where you are, as long as people identify with the uniqueness of your work. And the uniqueness of your work will be your willingness to learn, your willingness to be part of something great, your willingness to participate in something that brings about change and impact to your society, to yourself, to your work. As long as you're open to that kind of thing, then you should be able to make a difference. You should be able to attract the kind of.
I hope you're not expecting me to wear that next thing they gave me. I left it too.
Partnerships that you so desire for innovation or opportunities. Take advantage of the fact that they say the world is now a global village. Education is everywhere. So update yourself, do online courses, create visibility online. There are so many platforms now that you can showcase what you're doing, whether it's small, whether it's big. Think about a startup. Think about things that you can make a difference. Think about the challenges that are within your immediate community, and turn those challenges into those opportunities, your ideas into impact. And then you can drive competitiveness, which will then bring you the much desired partnerships. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. Very nicely said, create visibility, use online platforms to showcase what you are doing. And the world is a global village, so education is everywhere. It's important to turn the challenge into an opportunity and the idea into impact. Thank you very, very much for very wise words. And yes, we are all young at heart, and but the idea is to also, learn for others to hear our journey and to get inspired, because it's such a challenge to go from one innovation to the other, and it's not a quick journey, as we heard from the panelists. Engineer Valerie, I'm not sure if you can speak to us, if you can unmute your mic and tell us a little bit about your advice to the younger generation who are still early in their innovation journey, let's say.
Thank you. I
Engineer
was
Valerie?
muted. I think I was muted. Yeah.
There was some
Thank you
background
very
noise,
much.
yes. Yeah.
I actually agree with what has been said. The young generation to build partnership, number one, think big, but you can start small. It's good they think big, but start small. Sometimes we have the big dreams and then we want to start so big. And so we keep waiting for that big lap to come in. So I think dream big, but start small. Get those partnerships that takes you from one level to another. And then sometimes collaboration with others can make you become so big. Let's utilize the knowledge, the digital knowledge we have to solve immediate problems around us. Just like Dr. Adebisi said, have a product, have something that you are solving. Bring a solution, make an impact, and people will look for you. So again, I will say, think big, start small, get that connection, and you will get to where you're going to. The young generation needs to know that, and leverage on your technology and innovation skills, leverage on your digital knowledge, use it for something constructive, something that will impact others. And as you do that, I think we'll be better off for it, and the future will be better for all of us. Thank you.
So inspiring. Think big, start small, and leverage your digital knowledge. And there's, as has been said in the panel, there's a lot of digital literacy is now challenged by the digital knowledge that's all around us, and you can definitely use it for something constructive. Thank you so much, Engineer Valerie. We will have some closing also remarks from Engineer Waziri. He had mentioned to us PTDF and the multiple programs, and as you can see from the discussion, the audience is eager to hear, how can they align their project, how could they align their research area with PDF, how could they get the funding. So what advice do you give to the younger generation who are early in their path on building partnerships for this for innovation?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Nadia. You must send that my engineering certificate maybe after this.
I will, absolutely. And the doctorate as well, and my doctorate. Thank you very much, Mr. Waziri.
Really, truly, I've seen and managed a number of multi-stakeholder partnerships. And mostly, the ones that have been part of turn out to be win-win. And they do come with a lot of challenges. But as an advice to younger generation on how to manage this, especially for innovation, I see a lot of opportunities. I look at a lot of opportunities that comes with this kind of, relationships. So for startups, especially, if I'm to give an advice to a younger one, and the various initiatives that enable startups, and even for the academia, and there are funding. There are most of these, things, startups, innovation. There are constraints around all these initiatives are, mostly funding. So there are government-backed funding for tech-driven solutions in many sectors of the economy. There's this one that is called the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority Fund, that the NSIA Innovation Fund. Huge amount of money, about, I think, $200 million to promote technology ecosystem in the country. And the aim of the fund is to provide seed capital to qualified startup and tech companies in the country. The other one is also another government-backed $100 million AI fund. This one is in partnership with Google to support Nigerian startups using artificial intelligence in their technology initiatives. The fund also offers 10 million in funding, access to Google AI tools, mentorship, and global network of partners and experts. So there are also the Solar Power Niger program, Nigeria UK Pact. These are all, access to funding from for startups and training institutions. So what you need to do is check eligibility criteria, submit proposal, apply through official platforms, network, and then build partnerships. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The opportunities are out there. We just have to reach out and look for those government-backed initiatives. And as you mentioned, Mr. Waziri, the partnerships come with challenges, but they also come with opportunities, right? To build as those relationships get built. I see no more questions from the audience, and we have taken a lot of time from our panelists. Thank you very, very much for your time. We are 5 minutes to the clock, so we hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadia.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Nadia.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you very much, our moderator. Thank you, the panelists. It was actually nice having this wonderful section that explored how digital infrastructure serves as a backbone to research, education, and economic competitiveness. So it was a nice section. Thank you, Dr. Nadia. Thank you, Professor Adebisi. Thank you, Waziri. Thank you, Dr. Logman and Engineer Valerie. It was a nice session. We'll just take a short announcement before we go. The next webinar series will be coming up by Thursday, August 28, 2025. And the theme will be fostering entrepreneurial mindsets in research, innovation, and policy. So please, we are all expected to try and keep abreast to register as soon as the link comes up, so that we'll also be part of this wonderful webinar series 11. So thank you, everybody. Before we go, I'll be calling on Professor Taufik to give us a brief closing remark from the attendees. Thank you, Prof.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
All right, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw this insightful session to a close, I want to express our deepest gratitude to each of us for your participation in today's webinar, themed Harnessing Digital Innovation Infrastructure for a Knowledge-Driven Economy. Yeah, today's discussion have been I've highlighted the critical role digital infrastructure plays in driving innovation and building a resilient, knowledge-based economy. From the interplay of academia, industry, and government, our core triple helix pillar. So we have seen how collaboration can unlock transformative growth. So the ideas shared underscore the urgency of investing in scalable digital systems, empowering talents through digital literacy, and fostering policies that support research, commercialization, and innovation ops. So these are not just ambitious, they are imperative for Nigeria's sustainable development and global competitiveness, especially in the age of digitalization, which allows a kind of level playing ground and allows nations like ours to be able to leapfrog to another level and be able to compete with other established nations. So we should consider ourselves as evolving nation, not underdeveloped, but evolving. So as we move forward, let us not let today's insight remain within the confines of this webinar. Let us take action within our institutions, our networks, and our policy-making spaces to implement these strategies and drive real impact. Also, it's also opportunity. We talked a lot about collaboration. It's opportunity because we could see a lot of knowledge silos. We have a lot of people that are very knowledgeable. We are hoping that you'll be able to partner with Triple Helix in some of the things that we're doing to actually be able to innovate, co-create, share, and be able to move things forward. So on behalf of Triple Helix Nigeria, I'd like to thank our speakers, our partners, and all participants. We look forward to continuing the dialogue and working collectively towards the Vision 10-10-10-10. And thank you and stay innovative. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Prof. And thank you, everyone. And bye for now as we draw the curtain. So see you by the next webinar and also during our next monthly meeting. Thank you all and bye.
Bye. Is it Victor?
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye,
Yes.
everyone. Thanks, Nadia.
Hello, is it Mr. Victor?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Victor. I don't know whether if you can share the recording as well.
Okay, it will be shared on the platform. Sure, we do
Okay,
that.
okay,
Okay,
all right, okay. All right, thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. Bye,
Thank you
everyone.
very much.
Okay, bye. Yeah.